efficiency, lean systems for sustainable growth. We have a great topic and a fantastic presenter here today. Larry Baker is a seasoned instructor at Laurel Ridge Community College with deep expertise in lean systems and continuous improvement. A former continuous improvement manager at Lear Corporation and a longtime leader with Workforce Solutions, Larry is known for his practical approach, servant leadership style, and passion for helping organizations achieve lasting results. On top of that, he's just an all-around great guy and engaging presenter. You are going to get a lot out of this. So before I turn it over to Larry, just a couple housekeeping items. Make sure your computers are on mute, and any questions you have, type those into the chat. Larry is going to allow time to answer those towards the end. So with that being said, Larry, the floor is yours.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it. Thanks for the introduction. And thank you all for joining us on this webinar and your interest in lean. I appreciate that. I thought today we would share some details, logistics perhaps, about the class itself that'll occur this October, and then hit on some of the major points, the basics of lean, just as a teaser, you might say, to share a little bit about what we would be talking about in the class. So I'm going to hit on the who, what, when, where, and how of the lean class. First of all, what? Lean is, as you may know, of which your interest is, a continuous improvement program that is probably more popular than many of the others that exist out there. You may have heard of Six Sigma, and there may be others, but lean has a much broader focus or scope for anybody, really. It doesn't matter what industry you're in or what company or where you are in the company. It applies because it's focused on process. So lean can, with its right application, make some remarkable improvements in quality, cost, delivery, and customer satisfaction. And those metrics that we talk about there, those characteristics there of improvement in our operations, is really common throughout all the variety of different industries. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to share a 4-hour class on lean with a financial institution and shared about the quality, cost, and delivery, and certainly customer satisfaction. And as the first time I had really dealt with a financial institution as far as sharing what lean was all about. And all of those metrics there apply. As I will share too, lean has started in manufacturing, but has broadened its focus on many, many other areas. In manufacturing, those qualities are certainly easier to see and are common, again, characteristics that we measure. But it can be applied, again, to any organization and any industry. As far as our class, it's 16 hours of interactive instruction. It's going to include a variety of things that trying to make it interactive for students. Will include videos and simulations, application of lean tools. You'll see that book there, The 2-Second Lean, is that's my go-to book now. It's not only provides the basics of lean, but it shares this person's journey, the lean journey. And what's really kind of awesome in this too is the QR codes that exist in the book are linked to his website that show videos. And so he shows the application of some of the lean tools and how his employees have taken these concepts and applied them. And just again, a great book. So again, the class is a total of 16 hours, includes a variety of, again, very interactive. We'll do a number of exercises. We'll give homework as well, but it's pretty easy homework. It's to apply what we've learned and then come back and share what you found out from that. There's a number of topics, certainly as far as the basics are concerned, the evolution of lean, the history of it, the definition. We'll spend a lot of time on value add and non-value add in the 7 wastes, because that's, to me, the building block of just about all the concepts within lean. It falls back to a value add and non-value add focus. PDCA is Plan, Do, Check, Act. and Pokeyoke, again, are just some of the unique topics that will be covered within, again, the basics of lean. But then as we progress, we'll talk about the different modules that are used to focus on certain situations. So value stream mapping is a rather generic tool that is used to really map out the process, gathering information along the way, being able to see what is actually happening out there, and to record it and to capture it in a very easy and visual way. Workplace organization, or 5S, is probably the more familiar of the lean concepts that organizations have embraced. There are a number of companies that I've worked with that do 5S and not lean. And in reality, 5S is a subset of lean. And that's fine, but there's more to lean than just 5S. And they're missing out as far as the great tools and concepts and what lean can do if all they're doing is 5S. We'll talk about quality improvement. Total productive maintenance is focused on primarily machinery. Quick changeover is, again, focused on just changing over from product A to product B, or a hotel room from check out to check in, and how I need to change that room over. Same thing with a hospital room, and so forth. And then we'll end on lean leadership, because that's a key part of this. It's one thing to learn the tools, but then how do I apply it? If I'm in a leadership position, how do I apply these unique tools, and how can I run the company so that lean is integrated within the organization? And so that's a key part of it as well. So we'll cover that too. And why? Why lean? It's just different. It's a different focus. It's non-threatening. It is refreshing. It's just a different approach to it. It is a common sense principles, and I know that can be dangerous, because common sense, how we define common sense, but the concepts are very easily understood. They're simple. The difficulty, though, is they're just different from what we normally do. They are sometimes the paradigms or the barriers get in our way of applying some of the lean concepts, because we've just never done it that way. And that's one of the areas that we'll focus on in the class is, so what do we mean by paradigm? What are the paradigms that we have, and how can we overcome those paradigms? So we'll learn the lean paradigm, I should say, along the way. So again, it's different, it's simple, but it can be challenging because we've been set in our ways. And why lean? You may have never approached it in this format, and if you haven't, then it's worthy of pursuing these lean concepts. As the quote says, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. And this is an opportunity to get it out, to get out of the trenches, to get out of that rut, to think outside the box, and again, focus and trying to apply those lean tools. So again, lean can be very powerful, some remarkable and transformable results, but it can also be very challenging to apply. Lean can be for anybody in the organization. This doesn't have to be a management person or someone in management to attend. Obviously would love to have the leaders involved in an organization, obviously love to have the general manager and so forth, because lean works best when it is incorporated as the business of how we operate. And we know our senior leaders, once they embrace it and can incorporate that, the better off lean will be. However, if you're going to wait for that manager, or if you're going to wait for the CEO, or wait for the company to apply lean, it may be a while, and that you don't have to wait for them. Understanding lean and incorporating lean, you can do it within any position within an organization. I spent, as you'll see, 13 years at a manufacturing facility. 9 of that was with lean, focused on lean, and it was a challenge because while management did support me and support the program and so forth, they really didn't incorporate it into the business. And it was a struggle. But that doesn't mean we made some tremendous improvements and changes that were very powerful. So this really is for anybody. It's for anyone who wants to learn just a little bit more about lean. I spend a lot of time in the basics because I think the basics are the key in the overall program. Understanding the basics will help in all aspects of the different tools that we'll talk about. And if you're interested in, just changing the performance of an organization, this is a great opportunity. Again, lean, as we'll see, will focus on processes. And every organization, I can't think of not an organization that doesn't have processes. And so this will focus on process and focus on improvement of those processes. So it really is for anybody. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, was the first time I worked with a company, a financial institution. And I was leery of, well, does this apply? And of course I knew it did, but I'm just not that familiar with the processes in the banking industry. And as they shared, I had them break up into groups and list just brainstorming processes within their banking industry. And oh my gosh, we ran out of room on the flip charts. So there's plenty of processes there, and they agreed as we move forward, plenty of opportunities to improve. So again, this is really for anybody. The instructor, that's me. I spent 13 years in the lean and at Lear Corporation in Strasbourg. Prior to that was called Automotive Industries. They were a automotive parts interior supplier. And I was in the right place at the right time. I think I was quite blessed in that we're talking the late 80s and early 90s, and that the auto industry was going through some transformations. The big three were trying to catch up to Toyota. They knew finally what kind of, I wouldn't say the secret, but they saw some of the things that Toyota was doing, and they were forcing the suppliers to say, hey, you have to get on board for us as a customer, as far as lean is concerned, so we can catch up to Toyota. So I think in my organization, my boss saw me as a young and naive. I was an engineer, and they sent me to all these workshops to learn about lean. And it wasn't until Nissan approached us out of Smyrna, Tennessee, and really showed us these great tools in a compact way, in which we called it a lean activity. And once we did an activity at our facility, which I led and was assisted by a sensei, we made a presentation to management, and you could see the CEO in our organization in that management presentation. You could see the lights go off, and said, this is fantastic. We can make these improvements with the involvement of our employees. And that was something that we had never really done before. We made improvements from engineering and so forth, but not with the empowerment of our employees. And that was a tremendous change. So I was asked to take this on, develop this program. And at that time, there were 13 plants within automotive industries, and Lear came along and purchased automotive industries. And I took on a role of a division, even corporate level, in coordinating the lean concepts within the organization. And it wasn't easy, but it was because, again, management really needed to be totally involved in that. They, again, supported it, but really didn't understand it as much as I was hoping they would. So over the 25 years, I've been teaching lean, even within the Laurel Ridge community. After I was downsized at Lear, I joined Workforce Solutions here at Laurel Ridge, and as a corporate training salesperson, but also would teach the lean classes to those companies and individuals that were interested. So I worked specifically, in some cases, with over 20 organizations, again, teaching the lean systems to the leadership group. I always find it an honor to share what I have learned and my experience to those who are interested in hearing about it. And there are some great organizations in our area that have embraced this very well and continually to, again, practice lean, incorporate it into their business activity, their business, how they run their business. And it's rewarding on my part to see that in action, to be able to plant that seed, and then these companies take off with it. But I will preface too, if it sounds like this is a overall organization initiative, yes, it works best that way, but it shouldn't be restricted to that. There's no reason why someone who may be interested from an organization that's not doing anything on lean and learning more about it and trying to apply, come on in. Love to work with you and again, share that knowledge of what the concepts of lean and so forth, so that you can take the ball and run with it. So when? Well, this is October 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th. It just so happens to be 4 Friday afternoons from 12 to 4. I mean, what else are you going to do on a Friday afternoon? We've been doing this for a number of years. I know, again, at least 20 years, but probably 10 years now doing it on Friday afternoons. It seems to work out with the people that play, that participate in this. We're going to have it, I think the next one is where. We'll be here at the community college, Laurel Ridge Community College at the Middletown campus. I didn't put down, but the cost of that is $495 for the 16 total hours of the class. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to use the chat as far as the logistics of that class. But I'm going to dive into some of the concepts of lean, just somewhat as a teaser, you might say. As far as the definition and the purpose, lean is to reduce or eliminate the wastes and variation or anything that impedes the flow of a system or a product flow, and to create an atmosphere where continuous improvement is a natural way of doing business every day by all employees. Now, there's some key terms there. I'll go back to the waste. Waste is not what you may throw in the trash can. Waste is the non-value added activity that occurs in our processes. So if you were to just list the tasks within a process, more than likely there's going to be some wait time, there's going to be some motion in there that's really not adding any value to the product. And I'll dive into this a couple more slides, but we want to focus on those wastes or those non-value added activities to try to reduce or eliminate those tasks within that process. And obviously, we're going to focus on variation as well. There is a better tool, our program out there on variation called Six Sigma, at least in my humble opinion, of its focus, high-level statistics and great tools that can be very beneficial and very powerful as well. But lean's going to focus more on the waste side of things. And again, if we make it too complicated, look, it's whatever impedes the flow, whatever's out there that stops or restricts the flow of a system. That's where we're going to focus our attention. And what really makes, to me, lean so unique is this isn't just for, again, the engineers or management. This is for everybody. This is for everybody. And that book that I shared earlier, the 2-second lean, you might wonder, well, what's 2 seconds? What does he mean by 2 seconds? Well, in his organization, he is asking his employees to make a 2-second improvement on a process each and every day. 2 seconds, 1001, 1002. Well, that's easy. I can do that. It's not 20 seconds. It's not 2 minutes. It's not 20 minutes. It's just 2 seconds. and it's done every day by all employees. Well, that's better than multiplication. That's exponential once you apply that. And if everybody does that, and if everybody does it again in a very short period of time, then the impact can be tremendous. And that process that I just shared with you is what makes Toyota so great. Toyota is the benchmark of all this. And it's not their Japanese culture by any stretch. It's part of it, but it doesn't matter where Toyota goes. They can be in Alabama or Arkansas, Texas, or West Virginia, or wherever their plants are. They have developed this culture where just what you see there, it is a continuous improvement. It's a natural way, and it's done every day by all employees. Now, I don't know about you, but that that sounds scary to me because we're changing a culture here, and we know how challenging that can be to change that culture. So this is an everyday focus, an everyday occurrence, meaning that it really does need to become part of our business, of how we operate our business. And changing that culture is a challenge, and there's some people that aren't going to accept it. And that's hard. And in some cases, well, they may be so uncomfortable because of this new culture they were bringing that, well, maybe they don't want to be part of that that organization. And that's fine. We may not convert everybody. But again, the challenge comes into play where this becomes a part of business. But that's what makes it so great. That's what makes it so successful. And that's what makes Toyota, again, so successful. Toyota encourages their employees on the assembly line that if there's a problem that they identify during the process, that they're asking them to pull the cord and stop the line. And let's address it right then and there. And trust me, I've been part of manufacturing processes and seen plenty of manufacturing processes. And if an employee stopped the line intentionally, they could be disciplined for doing that. Because that's just not, there's a paradigm. We just run no matter what, and we'll fix things along the way. And that's, again, just a different paradigm, a different culture that exists, again, because of lean. Now, again, you're not going to get there right away. It's going to take a while. It's going to take years, perhaps, to get to that, changing that culture. But that is the success, again, of lean. I always just start out this way too, of what does it look like, rather than ending this way. What are we talking about? And it was interesting, again, sharing this with the banking industry, banking company yesterday. While this does, you can easily see this in manufacturing, these items that I've listed here, it does apply. It may be different terminology in the banking, and again, in any organization, in any system, these items do apply. So it's a smooth, streamlined flow, clean, well-organized, visual information. It's customer focused, and we're going to focus on quality, cost, and delivery. We're going to measure those things and how can we improve in those areas. It is a low amount of inventory, and that inventory is replenished as needed or just in time. It is teamwork, cross-trained employees. There's an evidence of daily structured problem solving. Just because I implement lean doesn't mean I don't have any problems. Oh, there's plenty of problems. Lean will uncover lots and lots of problem opportunities. But now, therefore, I need my employees to have these problem-solving skills to work through these problems. And again, paradigm shift. In some cases, we don't allow, or we don't encourage, perhaps, our employees to problem solve. And in some cases, we do encourage, but they may not even have the tools or know those problem-solving tools. Well, lean's going to fix that. We're encouraging everyone to be part of a problem solver. We encourage everyone to be that process engineer. And we're going to give you the tools. We're going to coach you on those tools of problem solving, a methodical way rather than a haphazard approach. We're going to provide a systematic way of solving those problems. There should be a low amount of quality concerns, or that focus of what lean looks like. Those quality issues should be reduced. There should standardized work for all jobs, which is key as far as lean is concerned, because we want to have standardized work. And that's very important to have those SOPs, those standard operating procedures, to make sure we document this is how it should be done. But at the same time, being able to examine those processes or those standard operating procedures to see if there's an opportunity to improve. And it's kind of a vicious cycle. We're going to standardize, we're going to improve, and then we standardize that improvement. And we just keep on going. And that's kind of why they call it continuous improvement. Is a minimum amount of weight. And that last part is that continuous improvement attitude. And, people ask, well, what does that look like? Well, I will say that when I walk through an organization that is lean and has embraced this, people are smiling. People are enjoying their work. And I know that sometimes that can be a challenge, but empowering those employees, those operators, to improve their work, to help them improve, to help them make things easier for them, there's a different attitude for that. And if anything, as far as applying lean, that's a huge part, again, of incorporating that lean and getting to that culture. So lean, again, as I mentioned, is all about the improvement of flow. It is all about flow. It is all about a system. A flow is a series of tasks that intertwine with each other. And so one of the important things that we, in the start of this, is we're going to focus on a process. And as a group, we're going to go out and we're going to where the action is. We're going to see it. We're going to smell it. We're going to look at this process. We're going to examine it. We may take, measure things. We may spend a lot of time just out looking at the process. There's a book in Lean called, with value stream mapping, called Learning to See. And a lot of times we ignore, or we may push it under the rug of some of the process that we have, or we don't take time to look at a process per se, or examine it to the detail that it needs to be. And just by going out there and watching, and spending time on watching, focusing on watching the process, just brings a lot of opportunities that we may not have ever seen before. So that's the very first thing, is lean is all about flow. And therefore, then again, it can be applied just about anything, because any organization, because we all have processes. Now, with that in mind, we're going to identify each of those tasks of whether it's value add or non-value add. Now, value add in manufacturing is pretty simple. I can see it. I can hear it. I can smell it. Value add is when I'm adding value to the product. I could be painting. I could be adding attachments. I could be gluing things and so forth. In its most generic sense, and non-manufacturing, you might say, it's what am I adding value to that product or service along the way? Now, those other items and those other tasks within that flow can be considered non-value added. These are things that adds no value to it. It are things that we need to do, but it's not adding any value. This could be the wait time on a document. It could be a wait time on a machine. It could be the motion and movement of transportation. In fact, there are 7 non-value added, what we call wastes, that we identify that we can categorize. And that is, again, very helpful to see, again, if we don't think we have non-value added, well, no, maybe you do. We just need to put it in the correct category. And then I share with the groups that, there's a category that someone has written about, that it's value add, non-value added, but essential, and essential, 3. And I said, well, we can always put things in essential. What we really want to do is put it, it's either green or red. It's value add or non-value add, because our intent is we're going to focus on the non-value add activity. We want to reduce and or eliminate that. So if we go through our process and identify those tasks, whether they're green or red, value add or non-value add, then that should shed a light. That should get our attention that, wow, there's a lot of non-value add. And in fact, majority of the tasks in a process are going to be non-value add. We're talking 60, 70, 80, 90% of those tasks are non-value add. And I know that may sound strange. Well, it can't be. No, it is. It is. And the example I give, and this one may be an extreme one, but golfing. I'm going to pick up my clubs. I'm going to go to the first tee. I'm going to pick up, get the golf ball and a tee, grab a club. I'm going to put the tee in the ground, put the golf ball on the tee. And now I'm going to take a lot of practice swings. I'm going to pull up the grass. I'm going to throw it to see which way the wind's blowing. I'm going to take more practice swings, and then I approach the ball, and I finally hit it. And then I grab my clubs and I go down the fairway. I'm walking, I'm searching. I kick the ball back in the fairway. I grab a club. I take more practice swings. Well, which way is the wind blowing now? And then I hit the ball. And the value add and all of that is, that's right, hitting the ball. hitting the ball. And how long does it take to hit the ball? Right? 0.02 seconds, if you can measure it. So if I give you if you're going to hit the ball 80 times in a round of golf, giving that to you, times 0.02 seconds as it takes it to hit the ball, that's 1.6 seconds, 1.6 seconds of value add in a round of golf that may take me 3 or 4 hours, right, to get through all that. Now, trust me, I'm not saying that golf is all non-value added. I'm not saying that whatsoever. Don't go down that path. Please continue playing golf, okay? But it is just an example of, wow, that's incredible. And that ratio is tremendous as far as that non-value added. Not all processes are going to be that way, but trust me, majority of the process, the tasks within a process are going to be non-value add. Now that I know that, now that I distinguish those, we want to apply lean. We want to reduce or eliminate the wastes or the non-value added activity. And there's that process again. Now that I've examined it, now that I've focused on the non-value add, I've either eliminated or I've reduced the amount of time in that non-value add. I'm not focused on the value add. I can't hit the ball any faster. And even if I could, I'm not improving my overall time of that 3 or 4 hours of playing golf. It's the focus of that non-value add. And that to me is key. That's key in all of, as far as lean. In fact, we could stop right there. If you can understand that and apply it, to be quite honest, that's what really the basics of lean is all about. And how powerful it can be, how eye-opening it can be. It's kind of interesting. I spent, prior to learning lean, when I was at Lear Corporation, I guess I was in manufacturing for, I don't know, 15 years as practicing industrial engineering. And when I first heard and saw and understood this non-value add, it was a game changer. It was new glasses for me. It was a new way of looking at things. I had never heard of it that way before. It was spectacular. Again, it was like putting on a new set of glasses, and it's dangerous in a way because now I'm looking at things in a different way. And my, oh my, are there lots and lots and lots of non-value added tasks that are out there. And even if I do reduce, there's always, as that lean system shows to the right there, there's more opportunity. There's continuously looking for ways to improve, and to improve. And it's not necessarily on technology. It's not going out and buying a robot. It's not, it's really focused on, again, the non-value added and how can I, again, either eliminate or reduce the waste. Now, if I've gotten too complicated here, and sometimes we do, I love this, fix what bugs you. This is what Paul Akers in that book, 2 Second Lean, focuses on, to be quite honest. It says, look, just fix what bugs you. Your job, your operation should not be stressful. It should not be intense. It should not be complicated. This should be easy. There should be less stress and strain. And so we want to fix what bugs you. And I'll give you the example that he used about this. On the manufacturing floor, there's a trash can, a Rubbermaid container with a lid on it, a large Rubbermaid container with a lid. And in order to put the trash in the trash can, you have to unlock the lid. You have to snap the lid open. And it was just a pain. It was just a pain. Here I have the trash in my hand, and I really need 2 hands to unsnap that. And he says that, so he decides to modify the lid. I still need the lid. So he modifies it to clip those snaps that snap it in place. And then he takes duct tape at one side of it, and he duct tapes, makes a hinge. So now all it takes is a hand or an elbow or a forearm to lift up that lid and throw the trash in. Now, he fixed what bugged him. It's not a world changer. It's not, the return on investment is nothing, right? It's not going to save the world. It's just what bugs you. And once you start that, it's like, wow, what else bugs me? What else can I improve? What else can I do to make my job a whole lot easier and still get the job done? I'll give you another example. I've worked with Winchester Metal. They are a supplier of metal to the area, and they also do fabrication. And he shared, Josh Phelps shared with me one of the improvements that they made. They're going down the lean path. And he said one of his leaders, one of his shift leaders, had made an improvement that what he was doing each day was walking from the farthest point of the plant where he was located to the front office to get into the computer and print out information that he needed to do his job. And he did that several times a day. Now, you and I both know what the solution is there. And we would say, if we step back and watch that, like, wow, that's pretty stupid. That's idiotic. That doesn't make sense. And yet it's something that occurs each and every day by all of us. And so as he looked back and watched, the supervisor looked at this, he proceeded to move that computer and printer out to his area. He saved 280 miles of walking per year. 280 miles of walking per year. And just as something simple as that, okay? They didn't cost anything or very little to make that modifications, to make that move. But wow, what an improvement again on now he can use his time in a more valuable way as opposed to non-value added. So again, the transformation, the improvements can be remarkable. And this right here is the basics of all of that. The other part is 5S. Again, most people may have heard of this in the past. We've taken this 5S and from Toyota and translated it into sort, shine, straighten, standardize, and sustain. The picture I show here is a machine number 35. And I don't know about you, but it looks rather chaotic. It's a mess. Would you like to work in this area? And I think we'd all say no. It's got tripping hazards, can't find things. It's just an awful place to work. And yet, people do. Operators do. And we allow it to happen. And again, applying some of these very simplistic processes or simplistic concepts to this, we can make a fantastic transformation. And so I'll show the after. And I think I heard some oohs and ahs. I think I did. Ooh, ah, right? But what a change, right? And it's applying the 5S. We sorted, we shined, we cleaned, we painted, and we standardized. We put things back. We created shadow boards. We color coded some things. We labeled some items on the machine. We labeled some items on the floor. We created paths so we know where we should stay and where we shouldn't put things. That red box up there on G8, I hope you will say that is indicator that that's where the fire extinguisher should be. Notice it doesn't say fire extinguisher. It's just painted red. And I don't have to be quite honest, put a lot of words out there. I can use the color coding to show or share the information. For example, there's lights above that 35 that you see in the machine. They call those andon lights. A red light means that the machine's down. So if there's a technician in the area and he sees those lights, then that grabs his attention, say, okay, I got to go work. I got to go fix that machine. That machine's down and that's got my attention and I know to go there. I didn't have to email him. I didn't have to call him. I didn't have to page him. I just have that visual signal that allows, again, employees giving them the correct information. The labels on the machine, you see 78,890 and 56,456. Those are grease ports, which means I got to grease this machine and I need two greases, two different greases. And I remember in visiting the facility, having this situation, and the technician only had one grease gun. And he's expected to apply grease on a daily basis in that machine, 2 greases. I got a feeling he's going to fail. I know he's going to fail. I know we have not provided the right resources. We're allowing him to fail, and we shouldn't do that. But he's going to work at it. He's going to struggle, and he's going to strain, and he'll make it happen. But boy, what a mess we've created for him. And now that we've identified him, wow, that makes it a little bit easier. But now I still have one grease gun. And now I can change that grease gun, and maybe I need 2 grease guns. And yes, that does make sense, having 2 grease guns, but I still can mess up. I can put the wrong grease in the wrong hole. And I want to improve upon that. So it's so robust, it really doesn't matter who's doing this, they're going to be successful. And why, oh, why do we have a highly skilled technician that is greasing the machine when just about anyone with some good training could do this on their own? But I need to provide them with the right tools and a robust process, again, so that anybody can do this. Now, I don't know about you, but that to me is a great opportunity. And I'm sure within our processes, we have allowed, again, things where people, we don't provide them with the right tools, in which, again, are providing with the right information that's easy, that we're allowing them to fail. So 5S is very powerful, but it's not, again, it's just a subset of lean. And again, can be very, very transformative and powerful. And I don't know if you noticed, but you see that fan. That fan went from a big fan to a small fan mounted on a machine. Well, I have a story about that, but you're going to have to come to class to hear that classic story, okay? It's a good one. I learned a lesson. So, in summary, as far as lean is concerned, lean is to reduce the struggle, stress, and strain of our people. Very simple. It's not complicated. You're not going to need a computer. You're not going to need a calculator to apply lean. Yeah, well, you might need a calculator a little bit to do percentages and so forth, but trust me, this is very simplistic. The concepts are very easy to understand. We may have a challenge in applying them. Lean is about subtraction and not addition. We're taking things away. We're not adding, and we need to be careful in that in some cases. The focus should be on reducing the stress and strain, reducing the non-value add, as opposed to adding more to them. Lean is successful when it's incorporated in the way we do business. That is ideal. But again, look, if you're going to wait for everyone to chime in, for all the departments, for the company, for the corporation to play lean, you may be waiting a long, long time and get frustrated at it. I encourage you, again, these concepts are so simple that you can take it and run and apply it to what your job is, to your department, and run with it. You don't need the company to come along with you in that certain case. Lean is challenging. It's different. It's going to challenge those paradigms we have because it's not the way we have done things. And that's probably the hardest part in applying lean because of those paradigms that we have. Lean is intended to make the job easier and less complicated, to make the process so robust that it really doesn't matter who's running it. We're going to reduce that opportunity to fail. And so often we have designed processes that we've allowed people to fail. And if all else fails, lean is about fixing what bugs you. It is about, again, reducing the stress and strain of our employees. And it really is fun. I know when I was involved in this with, again, at Lear, I would come home and share the improvements that we made as opposed to my regular job. I would share those improvements with my family and discuss about that as opposed to my regular job. So it is rewarding for the soul that I feel like I've been involved. I feel like I've been a part of the company, that I've made improvements, and it's just again a great feeling to be part of that process. So finally, the class. I hope that I've enticed a little bit of interest to participate in the class. It is October the 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th for Fridays afternoon, 12 to 4. I forgot that it is cost of $495. In the chat, there is a link that you can go ahead and register that way. I also would encourage if there's organizations or companies that would like to do a custom class, we do that quite naturally. We can provide this class or part of the class for that company, for your employees. The exercises we can do on the floor. You can go out and we'll do a 5S. You'll do a 5S during the class. Or I map a flow of a process and bring it back into class again to talk about it and discuss it with your coworkers. So that's always an option as well. If there's interest, you're welcome to get in touch with Jay or the Workforce Solutions team, and we can obviously make that happen. And I will say it's never too late to continuously improve. I'll share a quick story. I was in a concession stand not too long ago, but within the last month, and we were selling barbecue sandwiches, sloppy joes, a round bun, putting sloppy joe on top of that bun. The spoon that we used was oval. The bun is round. Spoon oval, the bun round. You can imagine, I think, the problems that we're going to struggle to keep all of that on the bun. And it finally dawned on me, this is crazy. We can do better than that. And I went and got an ice cream scoop, which is round, and changed it. And we only had an hour to go. And it hit me, it's never too late to continuously looking for ways to improve. And I would hope that, again, within your job, within your organization, that you identify, yes, there's plenty to improve. And again, it's never too late to incorporate that, to apply some of these concepts and to make that happen. So hopefully this was very helpful. I'm going to ask Diana if there are any questions within the chat that I can address.
We currently don't have any questions, but anyone in the webinar, feel free to add your questions to the chat.
I think they're all registering, Diana.
Or you are very thorough, Larry.
But if anybody has any questions, feel free to type those in. In the meantime, Larry, we just want to say thank you. Excellent job, as always. We look forward to seeing more people signing up for this class. Just a reminder, these webinars are monthly. Our next one will be Wednesday, October 15th, and it's an introduction to MBTI, learning how Myers-Briggs assessments can unlock self-awareness, improve collaboration, and drive organizational success. Everyone that's been on this webinar today, you will be receiving a recording of this webinar, along with a recap and a survey. Your feedback is very helpful to us as we plan future webinars. So again, Larry, I see all the accolades coming in here, as they should. Again, thank you everyone for joining us. We look forward to seeing you hopefully next month as well for Myers-Briggs. Diana, thank you for putting all this together for us. And Larry, thank you again for just such a robust and engaging conversation. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.